Hi, you're watching the Olive Drab Alliance. My name is John. I'm out here on the canal with one of my dogs, one of our dogs, I should say. He's a good boy. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is not a political channel, but today I would like to talk about President Trump and what happened to him in Pennsylvania this last Saturday. Like I said, this is not a political channel, and I intend to keep it that way. And this video will be no different. I'm into politics, but here on the channel, I stay out of it. There's a million other channels you can go to for that stuff, but this channel, we talk about outdoor cooking, camping, with a little bit of survivalism and prepping mixed in there for good measure. So I know what you're thinking. Hey, this is a survival prepping outdoors channel, isn't it by default a conservative channel? Absolutely not. I'm going to explain why. Let's just say I'm a conservative, right? And I go out and I plant a garden and I put up some solar panels and a wind turbine. You would say, oh, he's a prepper. Now let's just say I'm a liberal. And I go out and I plant a garden, some fruit trees, put up solar panels, wind turbine, all that stuff. Now you're going to say, oh, he's trying to reduce his carbon footprint. You see, while our motives might be different, ultimately at the end of the day, whether it's to be more self-sustainable or have a smaller carbon footprint, we're going to end up doing the same stuff. And if SHTF ever happens, we're all going to be doing the same stuff then too, right? Trying to survive, trying to keep our family, loved ones alive, things like that. So here on this channel, no politics. I do reserve the right, however, someday to maybe start a second channel. Maybe we can get into some of that stuff. So with all that said, ever since Saturday, I've been paying really close attention to what's going on, what's happened to President Trump, the after effects of it, some of the things people are saying, some of the awful jokes people are making. And first, I'd like to start off this video, this rant, by saying I don't in any way condone that kind of behavior, whether it's coming from the left or right, no matter if it's against this candidate or that candidate. That's not the way things should be done. Not in this country, anyway. And I know I got people that watch my videos from all around the world. That's not the way things should be done in your country either. It's just not right. It's a universal wrong, okay? Political violence isn't cool. It isn't funny. It isn't hip. I kind of felt compelled to come out here and just talk about it from a survivalist prepper point of view. So, we all know how close President Trump came to losing his life. But do we know how close we were to that turning into an SHTF situation? Would all hell have broken loose if the worst had happened? I'm not so sure that if the worst had happened, it would have kicked off a doomsday scenario, but I do know a lot of relationships would have been strained, friendships would have been tested, families would have, certain family members maybe not speaking to each other for a while or maybe forever. And that would have been unfortunate. I'm sure there'd be some people out there trying to seek some kind of retribution. And if this happened to any other president from any other party, you'd get the same thing. I mean, there's goofballs on both sides. What you got, buddy? This one? Oh, look what you found. But you know, in this day and age, there's no telling, you know, with strained relationships, goofballs doing goofy things, who knows how far they could spiral out of control. So, the question I have for you, and the question you should have for yourself is, are you prepared for something like that? Because we all learned this last Saturday how quickly something can happen. So do you have the basics covered? Do you have a good network of trusted friends and or family that you can count on when times get tough? Is your home your castle? Are you able to secure your home? Whether it's a house or an apartment. Are there cameras? Do you have access to the video feed? How's the locks on your door? Are they held in with little itsy bitsy screws, or are they big 3.5, 4-inch screws holding those lock plates and locks in? What you got, buddy? Do you have first aid supplies? Do you have medicine stockpiled? Do you have toilet paper? We all remember during the coof how quickly toilet paper ran out, and how disgustingly violent people got fighting over said toilet paper. You know, people pushing old ladies down in the shopping store aisles just to get that last package of Charmin. People turn into vicious beasts when things get to be in short supply. Well, if you've already got a supply of those things, then you're not going to have to go to the store and fight and do all that stuff just to get... I mean, think about this. If people will push old ladies down to get the last couple rolls of Charmin, what are they going to do if it was the last can of beans? What if it was the last loaf of bread, the last couple pounds of rice? What would people do? In an SHTF grid down situation, you're going to have to be your own police department. You're going to have to be your own ambulance crew. You're going to have to be your own fire department. Do you have fire extinguishers in your home? A lot of people don't. You're going to have to be maybe your own military. And you're going to have to be your own intel gathering agency. You know, and maybe the information isn't coming through. You need to have ways to acquire information and then make your own decisions based on that information, right? Well, if you haven't yet, chances are if you're watching this, maybe you have thought about or have already prepared a bug out bag or a get home bag. Another one of the basics, one that I'm still working on, is your physical health. How far can you actually walk? You know, it's easy to say, well, I got a bug out bag and I got a get home bag and all I got to do is grab it and go and hit the road, and, you know, 40 miles later, well, have you ever tried to walk 40 miles? Even with a light pack on, say 20 to 25 pounds? It sounds easy. And maybe you've done it before, but maybe it's been a couple years or decades. And the old knees aren't what they used to be, and the old back isn't quite as strong as it used to be. So any equipment or items that you have, you're going to have to test. You're going to have to test yourself. You're going to have to test your gear. You should also test your plans. When my kids were small, we used to do fire drills. Everyone knew if there was a fire in the house to get out of the house, and the kids all knew where to go to meet up. We had a designated location out of the way, you know, at a safe distance. And every now and then, we run a little fire drill and test it out, and, you know, it was fun for the kids. Do you have a plan for a SHTF? Do you and your friends and family and people in your network know where to go or know where to meet up? Or are you just going to say, oh, I'll just go to Cousin Jeff's, or I'll just go to Aunt Susie's, and that'll be where I'm going, and Aunt Susie doesn't know that's my plan, but I'll just show up on her doorstep and go from there? Well, that's no plan. It's like they say, failing to plan is planning to fail. So yeah, if you're new here, this isn't the typical video that I usually do. Actually, it is kind of typical, but this one was motivated by political stuff, and we try not to get into that too much. But, you know, dealing with the aftermath of decisions that people make, whether foolish or not, can lead to trouble, and trouble can spiral out of control. And we saw just how quickly it could possibly happen. I don't know what would have happened if, you know, that bullet found its target. I shuddered at the thought of it. I don't want that to happen to anybody, no matter what side of the aisle they're on politically. I feel bad for the family and for the man that lost their life that day, and the people that were injured. I hope they get a speedy and full recovery. But, you know, were we close to a civil war? Would that push people that far? I try not to think that it would. I would hope it wouldn't. But I know that there are people out there that would be all it took, and they would go out and do something silly and, you know, seek retribution on whatever they think was behind it or whatnot. So, and those things might have triggered something else to happen and just spiral out of control. And we could very quickly find ourselves in a bad situation. You know, all it takes is a trucker strike or a blizzard where the highways are all shut down or something like that, and our supply chain is wrecked. We live in a society that depends on a just-in-time supply chain, meaning there is no back room at the store. There is no, there's nothing in the back. It's all on the shelves, and it's all ordered the millisecond that it's sold. And the trucks come on a regular basis, and you know they've got everything worked out. But as we saw a couple years back with the pandemic, one little monkey wrench in the works can throw everything out of whack, and next thing you know, there's no baby formula. Remember that? There's no toilet paper. Remember that? Remember when you would go look at the meat department in the grocery store and there'd be nothing left except turkey bacon, because nobody wants that stuff anyway. So our supply chain is very delicate, and it wouldn't take much to disturb it. And that can spiral out of control, and one thing leads to another and leads to the next, and you might find yourself in a sticky situation. Are you prepared to be your own police department, your own ambulance crew, your own fire department? You know, are you prepared to do those kind of things? I think there's a lot of people out there that think they're prepared, and they aren't really prepared. I know in my house, we work on it. You know, it's a work in progress, and I hope we never have to put it to the test. But I would say, you know, we're definitely not fully prepared, and at least we can admit that and realize that there are things we could work on, things we could do better. But you know, there's an awful lot of people out there that think, I'm ready to go. You know, let it happen. Bring on the Ruskies, and it's time to start spray painting Wolverines all over everything, right? It ain't going to be like that, people. It just isn't. I think before the pandemic, a lot of people thought they were going to, you know, be survivors, and they were going to, you know, form these groups, and they were going to be the next Negan, like from The Walking Dead, right? And they're going to be this tyrannical leader, and then they ran out of toilet paper, and reality hit. You started seeing a lot of people walking around with no sleeves on their t-shirt. So it was kind of a rude awakening, but I also think that since the pandemic, you know, before it happened, there was just a small percentage of people that would consider themselves to be preppers. And since then, now we're all preppers. Everyone that went through it anyway, everyone that went to the store trying to get toilet paper and couldn't get it, right? You're a prepper too now. Welcome to the club. Welcome aboard. And just like with what I was talking about earlier in the video about the, you know, if a conservative puts up solar panels or a liberal does, you know, look how many people who consider themselves liberals went out and purchased their very first firearm. You know, I don't know what their motives were, you know, for protection or security, I hope. But hey, welcome aboard. Welcome to the club. Guess what? The more the merrier. I wouldn't mind hearing about what you think. What do you guys think about what happened on Saturday? You know, and don't be typing nothing crazy down in the comments. Normally I encourage everyone to comment, but if you got some goofy stuff to say, save it. Save it for somebody else. You know, what happened wasn't a joke. What happened, you know, shouldn't happen. If you wish it would happen, just move along. Go to some other channel. This isn't the place for you. But yeah, what do you think? You know, how close were we? You know, could that have led to an SHTF situation, or would that have just become, you know, one more thing that this too shall pass? Sit. Good dog. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment. I'll see you all down the trail somewhere. Until then, have a great day.